It's time for Coach's Corner on KCCR, presented by the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection. Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com is also brought to you by Bank West, Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Todd's Electric, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Shane's Pharmacy, Missouri River Dentistry, CHS River Plains, Edward Jones Financial, Ferding Electric, First Dakota National Bank, Gales Gas, and Lamb Motors. And now, your host for Coach's Corner, John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you here inside the KCCR studios. It's the final edition here in 2025 of Coach's Corner. John Winkler with you as we get set to talk to some area coaches, and then we will break for the 2025 year with college football next week in bowl games. Yeah, we've got bowl games starting this weekend already. But then we've got Christmas 2 weeks from today, Christmas Eve, and then New Year's Eve 3 weeks from today, and we always take that Christmas and New Year's break. So this is the final one of 2025. Hard to believe. We're already at the end of 2025 with Coach's Corner, but that is what we are excited about to finish out 2025 strong with a good show, as we are going to be talking with Landon Badger, the head coach of the Oahe Capitals, as well as Larry Aker, the new head coach of the Pierre boys basketball team, Kirk Bebout, the head coach of the girls basketball team for Pierre, and Susie Rilling, the head coach of the Slay Beats girls basketball team, as their season was supposed to get underway yesterday, but it now will get underway Friday. The same for Pierre basketball, getting underway Friday and Saturday this weekend to open up their 2025-26 season. So let's get talking to our coaches. We will return and talk with Landon Badger, the head coach of the Oahe Capitals boys varsity team. That's on the way next. You're listening to Coach's Corner here on KCCR.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 30 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agriculture. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. That number again is 223-2518. Todd's Electric Service, serving the Pierre-Fort Pierre area. Todd's Electric Service, the line to power.
Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota in Pierre is proud to sponsor today's game. Whether you're in the market for a brand new Ford, Lincoln, or Toyota, or a quality pre-owned vehicle, our team is here to get you back on the road in style. From tough trucks to family SUVs, we've got the selection you need and the hometown service you deserve. Browse online anytime at CapitalCityFordToyota.com. Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, where community drives us forward.
It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
That's a clown question, bro.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Landon Badger of the Oahe Capitals as they will take on the Sioux Center Storm this weekend. They will play Saturday and Sunday in Sioux Center. The Caps are 2-2, did not play last weekend. And Coach, not having those games last weekend, how nice was it? You know, I mean, obviously you've played just 4 games so far, but using that weekend, how were you able to use that weekend to your advantage?
Yeah, you know, it's probably the perfect time for that to happen. You know, you start out the season hot with a 2-0 weekend, and then you go into the following weekend kind of hoping to kind of gain off of that. And truthfully, just kind of went the wrong direction for us. We just didn't execute on a lot of different parts of our game. And so to be able to have the weekend off to kind of reset, kind of get ourselves back into the groove, all focusing on kind of our system of play and trying to make sure that we're all going in the right direction. It's good to have that break so that we can really focus on it on practice, and then have 2 weeks of practice before going into our next game.
You know, and being able to have a weekend like this, because there's not a lot of weekends. There's another weekend in there as well before the end of the season, but you don't get a whole lot of weekends. There's no time between Christmas and New Year's, no weekends off there. You'll play at least one game on the weekend after Christmas and the weekend after New Year's. So being able to have a weekend break is got to be good for the legs for the stretch run at the end of the season, even though it's, you know, the third weekend of the season.
Yeah, it's crucial for us. And, you know, we had a good test early on. We got to kind of see where we were at after week 1, and we got even a bigger test on week 2. And like I said, I mean, it didn't go our way, but we learned a lot, and we had a lot of things that we can kind of focus on and improve on. One of the big things is just being able to be as conditioned as another hockey team. You know, we feel like we're prepared prior to the season, and then you get into those first games, and you know you do good, and you have a good compete level, and then you go into the next week, and maybe you're playing a little higher competitive team, and we kind of saw our wheels fall off a little early. So being able to have that whole weekend off in between, it really kind of lets us be able to reset and be able to kind of push the kids as hard as possible, knowing that, hey, you guys got 2-3 days off in between, and so you can kind of really push them hard for a few days and let them kind of get reset, and then we're right back to it again the following week. And so, yeah, I mean, we got to take advantage of those off weekends and really make sure that we're doing a good job to maintain kind of our endurance and be able to have that stamina going into the middle part of the season and into the back half as well.
Your opponent coming up this weekend, Sioux Center Storm, you know, it's no secret they've struggled they have not won a game since the 2023-24 season. They've struggled to stay in games against their opponents, but it, you know, this also doesn't mean that you guys are going there and just going to win without really showing up. You still got to play well, I mean, what's the challenge of knowing what Sioux Center has and what their record has been the last couple of years, and making sure guys don't take shifts off and really put a lot of 100% effort in throughout those entire games, even if the score is a wide margin at that time? What can be the challenge of facing a team like Sioux Center?
Well, the first thing is that you can really play down to somebody else's level. And, you know, unfortunately, Sioux Center has struggled for the last couple of years. But, you know, they're in the league, and so that means you've got to play as competitive a game as possible. And I'm a coach that doesn't love to just go out there and try to run a score up. But, you know, if that helps our team learn how to kind of build off of, like, working as a full group and seeing those assisted plays happen and goal after goal can happen, I'm going to be a happy coach, because that's the one thing that we want. We want to be able to move the puck. We want to maintain possession of the puck, and we want to be able to find the back of the net as much as possible. And so as long as we're doing those three things well, I mean, if the game gets spread out, that's fantastic. And, you know, the other side of the thing that you have to look at is you have to set goals, and you got to make sure that you're accomplishing those goals when it comes to these games. Because, yes, I mean, it isn't a secret that Sioux Center is one of our kind of lower-end teams right now, and we feel that we're a lot higher of a hockey team than them. And so if we set our goals, and whatever that standard might be, whether it's a specific set of shots on net, shots against, goals scored, whatever that might be, we want to make sure that we're reaching and trying to strive to meet those goals and make sure that we're hitting the expectations that we're setting prior to the weekend, and not just going into the game, going through the motions and just hoping that we come out with the win and go on to the next week. We've got to make sure that we hit every single standard that we're setting.
You know, and I think, too, maybe being on the road helps some being able to get guys to, you know, even more chemistry. You get an overnight trip. You've had 2 so far to start the season in the first 4 games, but you get another one here. That is crucial to building good teammates, good line mates, good chemistry, all those intangibles that don't show up on the stat sheet, but they end up seeing them on the stat sheet because the guys are playing well with each other too.
Yeah, having a whole nother weekend of all getting to be together is crucial. And, you know, you talk about being an away game. I mean, there's no distractions when you go to an away game. You're the opponent, and everyone's focused on the home team, and all that's supporting us is us. And so we have to go out there, and we got to make sure that we're really focused on on that goal and not getting distracted by anything else. And so it'll be a really good opportunity to kind of keep building after that. And this whole last week, our biggest focus has been how to kind of bring the team all together and make sure that the morale around the team is high and that we're all focused on each other and not any other distractions. And so that's been the big focus over the week, and we want to be able to see that go into the weekend and hopefully continue to build that team chemistry. And, we're going to mix things up a little bit this weekend. We're going to try a few new tactics with lines and see whether or not we can maybe spark some different energy out of everybody, and maybe also kind of make some of those kids feel more at home with who they're playing next to and not feel like they're having to keep up or slow down for somebody. And so it'll be a really good test and be able to hopefully find some more balance between our entire lines.
Again, talking with Coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals, who will be on the road this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, against the Sioux Center Storm. We will have Sunday's game on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. You start to get closer to the Christmas time. You get close to the first home game of the season. You still got a game against Huron next week, Friday, before finally being at home on that Saturday at the Expo Center. The only home game before the first of the year for the Capitals, before then being back at home on January 10th. I think we talked about it a little bit too, having a lot of road games to start the season, and then the back half is full of a lot of home games. To be able to, whether it be 500 or above 500, to be able to be a above 500 team on the road to start the season, got to be like where you're going to be at if you can get to that point at the end of the 2025 calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we can continue on the track that we're going and stay above that 500 with those away games, that's crucial going into the home stretch. Because the one thing that I kind of said to these kids a few weeks ago was make people have to show up to come watch you play at home. Make them have to be there. And the way that you do that is that you set the tone when you go to these away games and you show that we're the team that we've been building for the last couple of seasons, and that we're ready to show it off to everybody. And so over this next few weeks is a really good test for us to really kind of put ourselves up there as one of the high standard teams throughout the season. And it's this weekend and next weekend we've got to really go and make sure that we have our same strategy for the Huron and the Watertown game. And again, like I've said, focus on what we can control, and if we do that well, then I can promise you that there should be some good outcomes that come with that.
Talking with Coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals. Again, they play Sioux Center on Saturday and Sunday this coming weekend on the road. Coach, as we start to wrap things up here, let's get into that final question. Biggest key overall for the Caps to get wins on Saturday and Sunday against Sioux Center?
Believe in each other. I think that's one of the biggest messages that we've been trying to pass on to every single kid is trust every single kid that's around you. I say the same message at the end of every single speech before we go out on the ice, and it's make sure that you're playing for the guy that's to both sides of you, the guy in front of you and the guy behind you. Because if you're doing that, then that means that you're playing the full team game and you're focused on everybody and not just yourself. And, we trust that every single one of these kids are going to be able to do that and be able to maintain it for the 50-some minutes that we play in a hockey game. If we do that, we're going to have good outcomes every single week. And, yeah, that's the main ultimate goal, is to make sure that we're all together in this whole deal.
Coach, I appreciate the time as always. It was good talking to you, and looking forward to this weekend and the coming weeks here for Hawaii Capital Hockey on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. Again, thanks for the time and good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you later on this weekend.
Thank you very much.
That is head coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals. We'll return with more Coaches Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. KCCR.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. Bank West. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through every season. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. They have fully trained ASE certified mechanics on staff, ready to handle it for you. From brakes and bearings to alignments and front ends. Let their experience work for you. Over 50 years combined means you can count on them. So if it's time for a transmission flush or even a simple oil change, the only name you need to know is Graham Tire, 421 West Sioux Avenue in Pierre.
Let me talk to you.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
Yeah.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Larry Aker of the Pierre boys basketball team as they get set to open their season on Friday and Saturday on the road in Rapid City against Stevens and Central. And Coach, you move into this job here and move into the varsity head coaching position. What's the first couple of weeks been like getting into this role and getting into the head coach of the Pierre basketball team?
It's been really good. The kids have been working hard, and that's all we ask of them is they come to practice every day, prepared and play with effort and have a great attitude. And the first couple weeks here have been really good. We're seeing a lot of good things from the kids, so it's been a great move, and I can't wait to get started with some games here.
You move into this head coaching position, and from last year, the team graduated several seniors that included a lot of starters, Sawyer Sonnenschein, Eladio Simmental, Dawson Getz, Luke Olson. So a lot of open spots to begin with just guys that are graduating, but then also you as a new head coach coming in kind of opens everything up. So it's kind of a good match to open the season, or for you to step in with not knowing maybe anybody going into the year and kind of having that fresh slate, that it really a lot of things are open for playing time and for starting positions.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just right from the start, we don't have many, older guys, as far as seniors and juniors, that came out. I think we have, 6 seniors, and with 2 of those being, injured right now, and five juniors. So the upperclassmen, are few, but with that being said, there's also some really good athletes in that group and some really good basketball players. So we've been, seeing some good things from them upperclassmen, and we got some younger kids that have been working hard. And, it's an adjustment time, not only with a new coach coming in with, totally different system. So the kids have been, learning on the fly, and, same for me, just, learning on the fly, learning them, trying to figure out, who's going to be in what position and so forth. But, as I said earlier, we started the interview, the effort and their attitude has been, amazing, and they're a bunch of competitors. So, practice is, we've been getting after it in practice, so it's been good.
Coming into this season, I'll give you a chance here to talk a little bit about your resume and where you came from the last couple of years, and your background of being a head coach and just coaching in general.
Yeah, so this is my 22nd year of coaching basketball, and I've been a head coach 17 of those 22. Last year, I was in Del Rapids at Del Rapids Public. I was the boys coach there. And then prior to that, I was the head girls coach in Winter. And so, I'm familiar with this area, being in Winter for, I think I was the head coach there for 11 years. So, very familiar with the area. I've, coached boys basketball now this will be my 6th year. being a head boys. And so being on both sides, that's, they coaching girls has, a little different vibe than boys, but, it's been good so far.
And maybe that there's not a lot of difference to it too, but going from Class A to now Class AA, or at least in terms of just practice from Del Rapids to Pierre, what kind of stands out to you a little bit, and maybe that's still to come, or maybe that you already know, or maybe there isn't much difference from Class A to AA moving into this spot?
Well, I would say just the amount of players, and the amount of teams. I think last year we only had roughly 30 kids out for basketball in Del Rapids. And so, we're right at 50, I think, 9 through 12 here. So just that and has kind of been a change. And then, just the travel, obviously, and didn't have any overnight stays. So that'll be something a little different. And, playing a noon game didn't happen very often in Class A basketball.
Going into this first weekend, Stevens and Central, your first opponents, for you, again, your first games as head coach with the Pierre basketball team, and these guys, maybe a lot of these guys are getting their first taste of varsity. How much prep goes into knowing what Stevens and Central does compared to focusing on just what the Pierre Governors want to do this season and want to do this weekend?
Well, a lot of it is focusing on ourselves and what we control. Obviously we will go through a scouting report on both teams, but most of it is being able to do what we want to do. Obviously we got to have stuff in for all types of defense, offensively, just in case they, throw something at us that, we're not expecting. And, Stevens has a new coach. They graduated a lot of seniors last year, so you don't know going in what to expect. So both teams are, in the same boat. Graduated a lot of seniors. Both have new head coaches, so it should be fun Friday night.
How excited are you to get that first game? Obviously, a lot of coaches always say, hey, we'd love to have as many practices as you possibly can, but maybe, in the first game, you want to see exactly what this Pierre Governor team can do. How excited are you to get this season rolling on Friday?
Well, I'm probably not as excited as the kids. I think they're tired of, beating up on each other in practice, but they want to face somebody else, but I'm excited. I think it'll be fun, and, basketball should be a fun game. And again, we just ask the kids to go out and compete for 32 minutes. And, at the end of the 32 minutes, if, we're head on the scoreboard, that's great. If we're behind or, we lose the game, then we got to learn from it and, where can we improve? And, just a overall evaluation, win or lose, we're going to have things we're going to need to work on. Basketball is a game that not for perfectionists, and it's okay to make mistakes if you're learning from it. So I know we're going to make mistakes. There's going to be some things we're going to need to improve on, but we're definitely ready to get started Friday night.
Again, talking with Coach Larry Aker of the Pierre boys basketball team. He'll be on the road for the start of the season against Stevens, and then Central on Saturday. Be Friday and Saturday games against Stevens and Central out in Rapid City. I don't want to give your whole game plan away, but what can maybe fans for Pierre expect this season in the style of offense and defense of the Pierre Governors? Is it a run and gun? Is it a half-court offense? What can maybe the Governors expect, or Governor fans expect from this team this year?
Well, typically I've been a up-tempo type coach, press for 32 minutes, get up and down the floor. I'm not saying we're not going to do that, but I think early on our depth is not where we need it to be. And so we're going to have to be cautious of, how we play. We'll get after them in the full court, run some pressure. But early on here, it's going to have to be some, just half court stuff. And then, offensively, we get a chance to get out and run. We're going to do that. But at the same time, we got to be able to execute in the half court if a team wants to try and slow it down. And, a lot of times defensively, if, you're not getting those steals and stuff, it's hard to play up tempo. So you got to be good at both. But, I look forward, as that depth develops, and the season goes on and we get a little more, legs under us. I look to, play a little more up tempo, getting after them defensively, pressing.
Again, as we start to wrap up here, you're talking with Coach Larry Aker of the Pierre boys basketball team. Final question. I like to always finish with one of these questions. Biggest key for the Governors to be successful this first weekend, and again, wins and losses aside of what this weekend is, but the biggest key for the Governors to feel good about themselves going into the next weekend and moving into the season.
Well, I think just game-wise, first off, you got to take care of the ball. So we got to do a good job of taking care of the ball. I think that'll lead to, a good percentage of shots if we, so you got to shoot the ball well, you got to take care of the ball, and you got to defend and rebound. So, we're going to focus on those things. And if you win those categories, you should be sitting pretty good on the scoreboard.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time. It is good talking to you. The first of quite a few here this year. We'll talk more in Coach's Corner as the year goes along. Looking forward to this basketball season. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That is head coach Larry Aker of the Pierre boys basketball team. We'll return with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
Score big on your next vehicle purchase with Lamb Motor Company in Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre. Check out their large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs at any one of their locations, or go online to lambmotor.com. That's LAMBMOTOR.com. Or give them a call today at 800-952-2222. Lamb Motor Company of Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now I'm playing for real.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. What play should I call now? Maybe corner three.
He's hot. He is hot. Keep feeding that guy.
Now back to Coach's Corner with KCCR award-winning sports director John Winkler.
As we welcome back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Join me as Coach Kirk Bebout of the Pierre Governor girls basketball team as they start their season coming up on Friday and Saturday, as they will be opening up the 2025-26 season. And Coach, it is good talking to you again. It's going to be another fun season. Over the course of the last year, and you guys made the state tournament again for another straight year last year. Now moving into this year, quite a few seniors graduated that had either started or had a lot of time playing for the Pierre Governors. What's the you go through it every single year that seniors graduate. You have to find and see who those new stars will be. They work their way into the starting lineup. But what's kind of stood out to you in the first couple weeks of practice getting ready for this first game?
Yeah, a couple of things there. I guess, we're, like you mentioned, making the state tournament last year. We knew, we had every year you have seniors graduate and you lose like Reese Twilliger and Ryan Berry, and I could go on and on. But, going into last year, we knew we lost some of those girls, and we had to, really have some other girls step up in order to make it back to the state tournament. I was really impressed with the girls last year that, I think it's probably a little unexpected for the most part from, people that from around the state maybe that, knew what we lost. I mean, obviously you have a lot to replace, so it's difficult to make it back. So I was really proud of our girls, what we've been able to establish here with Pierre Girls Basketball, making it 3 years in a row. I feel like, if you look at the last 3 years, we're one of the top 3-4 programs in 2A over the last 3 years in terms of success. So I think we have a lot to be proud of. And then, going to this year, you're right. We lose girls that did a lot of great things for our program. We got the two Graces that were just dynamite on defense, and then you have a first team All-Stater at point guard. I mean, that's really, that's pretty hard to replace. So, what's really impressed me so far is just how fun these girls are. Honestly, like they're very coachable, and they just have really good attitudes, the right approach to it. I mean, they don't get too high or low, and it's just there's no drama. It's just, it's been really fun coming to practice and working, even though we have a lot of things that we really need to get better at in order to compete at a high level in 2A basketball. But, win or lose, I mean, like just the group of people that you're around that are committed to each other and are going to work hard and have good attitudes, it just makes it really fun. So the thing that stood out to me is just, how fun these girls are.
And going back to your point about being one of the best programs in AA the last couple of years, the standard continues to be set for this Pierre Governor team. Now that the girls, will have to continue to win to be at that point, but they've seen how well and how much work the other girls have put in that have graduated and have moved on, and they want to continue that. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see early on in practice, wanting that to continue, but knowing that these girls have had a lot of good role models to then work hard to try and be, a 4th straight year at the state tournament.
Yeah, I mean that's the precedent. I mean, right? Like we've been through it and they've seen it. If you look at the last couple of years, when we started the season playing Stevens, we kind of got blasted, to be honest. Like we did not compete very well the last 2 years coming into the season. So, I think we have to be careful with our expectations. We really have a long ways to go, if I'm being honest, as far as where we're at. And I think our girls know that, though. They know that we have a lot of things that we are going to need to improve upon and do in order to get to that point. But the fact that, last year we came out, we lost, like, this is running clock, we lost to Stevens, but, we were able to improve throughout the year and find ourselves back at a state tournament. And it's always the goal to make it to the state tournament. And hopefully we can do that again. But I just know that these girls are going to have the right attitude as far as it's about continual improvement throughout the year. We're going to have some growing pains. There's just no doubt about it. When you lose a point guard that you've had for 3 years, that's a first team All-Stater. I mean, right away, that's a very important position that we're trying to replace, and it's going to take some time. I mean, we have Emery Larson, thankfully, back, who was obviously a huge addition for us going into last year, and we'll rely on her. And then Molly has played, she started probably half the year, and she played a huge role for us. But beyond that, we have, little to no experience playing varsity basketball. So, that's going to take time. It just is. There's no two ways about it. It's something, a process that you got to go through. We're going to take some lumps, and as long as we keep that attitude of, we're working on this together, and we're not gonna give in, and we're not gonna accept anything less than our best, then things will turn out okay, whether we make it to the state tournament or not.
And talking with Coach Kirk Bebout of the Pierre Governor girls basketball team. Now, you guys open up at home against Stevens and Central, which are, that, like you mentioned for last year, that it was a tough sled to go against Stevens. But opening at home again with the group that is coming back here, got to be nice to get those first game jitters out of the way and be able to do that in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, I think I've said this the last every year when we have this conversation, like. Before Christmas is really still preseason. The games count. They're going to go on our record, whether we win or lose. I mean, that's going to be part of it. But, it really is preseason. We get 2 weeks of practice before we play games. That's crazy talk, honestly. Like, colleges get, they're practicing for 2.5 months, and they're still not really totally prepared. So, to get together for 2 weeks and think we're going to have everything ironed out and be perfect in 2 weeks is just not going to happen. So, you really got to, kind of treat it a little bit as, we want to win, and it is, they do count, but at the same time, it's more of a preseason, honestly, just trying to figure out where we're at and the things that we do well, and then things that we need to work on and what we're going to do moving forward. So, we're going to go out and we're going to compete our best. We know it's going to be an uphill battle against a really good, experienced Stevens team, and honestly, Central is much improved this year. They didn't lose anybody from last year. They were pretty close. They were learning how to win last year, so they're going to be, and they're tall, and we're not, and they do a lot of good things. So both games are going to be very difficult for us, but either way, we're using them as learning opportunities, seeing where we're at, seeing what we need to do to get better, and, try not to get too high or too low one way or the other.
And going back to your point earlier about these girls wanting to learn and not getting too high or too low, in a first couple weekends of not doing that, it's probably going to be, especially with this group, and not that the other groups are harder or easier or anything like that, but it's going to be easy with this group for them not to get too high or too low, depending on wins or losses in the first couple weeks of the season.
Yeah, that's a trick, right? Losing stinks. So if you lose, it's hard not to get low, and winning is really fun. So it's hard not to get too high. So, we really got to take the long-term approach of it is a long season. Basketball, we're about 4 months long. We're out there longer than most programs as far as how long our season is. So there's going to be ups and downs. There's no doubt about it. It's just going to happen. Even if you're, if you're like a Gorman last couple of years went undefeated, I guarantee you they had some downs in there too. So, regardless, you got to keep that approach, and that's when you become dangerous, when you don't get too high or too low about things, and you're always steadily improving. Then that's when really good things happen.
This team, you mentioned about the lack of height, and obviously it's a little bit hard to coach the height side of things, but going into this season, again, without giving your game plan away on how you want to approach things, but what's kind of the big key for to get those offensive rebounds, to be able to get those, I guess, rebounds in general, whether it be offense or defensive rebounds, and being able to still work the ball around the perimeter? Because these girls can shoot, and that's the good thing, but how do you work the ball inside and work things around with with the lack of size potentially against a lot of teams?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think what we do have, like I said, how fun the girls are and how great attitudes they have, they also work really hard. So, defensively, I have no doubt that we're going to work really hard on that side of the ball. But, it really stinks if you work really hard for 30 straight seconds to get a stop and then you give up a rebound. So, that is a concern. It's something that we have to stress and make a habit that we're making contact and we're going after and pursuing rebounds every single time, because we are at a little bit of a disadvantage there. So it's just something that, you continually stress, and you have to make a mindset, overall in order to rebound. And then you're right. We do have some strengths that we can count on, like Molly and Emery are both experienced, and they can both really shoot it. So anytime you can, you have some shooters on the floor, you can stretch the defense a little bit, and that always helps to make shots. It makes everything a little bit easier. We're going to have to really find a way to get into offense and to get those girls the shots that we want, because, like I said, you take for granted a Lennox Dupree who, anytime you run a set or you're trying to get into offense or you're getting pressed or you got to take care of the ball at the end of the game and make free throws, we had first team All-Stater doing that for us for 3 years, and that translates to a lot of wins. And we don't have that. So, we don't really have anyone that's played a ton of point guard or that has that experience that can, immediately step in and that you can expect is just going to handle Stevens' pressure, who's going to pick us up full court and trap all over the place. So, we got to be really patient while also, not settling and making sure that we're stretching ourselves in order to start figuring that out, how we're going to get into offense, how we're going to run our sets and execute the way that we need to execute in order to get good shots against really good teams.
As we start to run out of time here, last question that we'll end with, and again, wins and losses will be there throughout the season, but this first weekend, outside of wins and losses, biggest key for the Governors to see this weekend. What's in your mind the biggest key for the Governors to see this weekend that is that positive side moving into the rest of the 2025 year and then start to move into 2026?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I would say, the biggest thing that I want to see is just that we keep wanting to learn, and that we take on adversity, straight on. That we're not trying to avoid it. Like, we all have things that we need to get better at. We have a lot of things that we need to improve upon. So the first step in dealing with that is being honest with ourselves about where we're at. So having that good attitude of wanting to be coachable and willing to fail in order to learn and then continue to be successful. So really just that mindset is what we need to make sure that we have regardless of, results and what happens.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the time. It is good talking to you again. It's good to have basketball season back and that first game coming up Friday and Saturday. Girls will be at home both Friday and Saturday this coming weekend, 7 o'clock and 1 o'clock tip-offs at the high school against Stevens on Friday and at 1 o'clock on Saturday against Rapid City Central as the season gets underway. And those games, as the season goes along, will be on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports throughout the winter sports season. Coach, appreciate it. As always, it is good talking to you again, and good luck this weekend, and here's to another good season.
All right, appreciate it as always. Thanks.
That is head coach Kirk Beebe of the Pierre Governors. We'll return with more of Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
Did you know it is important for your child to see the dentist at the time their first tooth erupt? A healthy smile begins at birth, and there are many variables, from healthy eating habits to good oral hygiene and routine dental care. Hi, I am Dr. Michelle Hofer. At Missouri River Dentistry, we enjoy working with people of all ages. Dentistry is our profession, but people are our focus. I invite families to come experience an office that uses the latest techniques and equipment to be sure you receive that healthy and happy smile. To schedule your appointments for your family, call us at 223-2021. Kids love us, parents trust us.
This fall, take some time to think about your future while the leaves make their way down to earth and the last sunset of summer leaves us with an autumn chill. It's time to grab the nearest foam finger and break out the face paint. Rush the stands with First Dakota National Bank and forget how to blink. Fall sports are back with jaw-dropping plays, an electric atmosphere, and epic scores. Make some noise with First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakotanationalbank.com. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
You like that? You like that?
As we welcome back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and on KCCRradio.com. Joining me is Coach Susie Rilling of the Sully Buttes Chargers as the girls' season was supposed to get underway yesterday. Now we'll have to wait until Friday. And so, Coach, we were going to talk about the Ipswich game. Now you got to wait a couple more days to get that first game in. Obviously, you can't change anything about it. It just is what it is. But what's maybe a benefit of not playing on Tuesday? Is there a benefit to not playing on Tuesday and then getting rolling on Friday instead now?
No, I'd rather have played on Tuesday if I could, just to get the first game jitters out of the way for my girls and get the nerves out so they were able to come out and be ready to play here on Friday.
Yeah, it now turns into a home opener as the opening game on Friday against North Central. Let's talk about your team. Not a lot of girls graduated last year. Just 4 girls graduated from a year ago, and now you bring into this year a lot of seniors: Berkeley Burney, Jaden Yeager, Nevaeh Westfall, Scotland Kinney, Miley Weischild, Tavery Smith. A lot of seniors and not a lot of underclassmen on the roster because of how many seniors there are. What's a good thing about having as many seniors as you do this year?
Well, they've been playing basketball since they were probably 5 years old, so that's a benefit. And they've grown up playing basketball throughout the years of growing up. And so, yeah, they've been playing ball together and having a good time and learning from each other and played with each other, so that's a benefit for us.
Does it, for you, obviously you've been now with as a coach for Sully Buttes for several years, the head coach the last couple of years as well. Is it a little bit easier to kind of get into the swing of things in practice with all the seniors, knowing that they know what to expect, even if they didn't have the varsity experience last year, that they kind of know does it make it a little bit easier to start the year out?
Yeah, it does. A lot of them have been watching off the bench and got to play a little bit last year for me. But yeah, just being able to watch and see what's happening out there on the floor, and when they're called to duty, then they're able to go out and execute for me.
What kind of stands about what this team is looking like this year? What kind of maybe stands out to you about that?
We're gonna be a little tough. I mean, we've got we got quite a few that are back, but some that haven't played a lot of varsity for me. But I got a good bench. I got 3 that'll be coming, 4 coming off the bench that will benefit and help my team a lot better than before. The depth is a positive instead of not having a depth at all. And we're such a young. We have a lot of 8th graders that'll be coming up to help us out later on. But this year, as far as my 6 seniors, I have a lot of faith in them, and they've been listening at practice and doing exactly what I'm asking them to do and fulfilling their roles.
And again, Sully Buttes is going to take on North Central on Friday to open up the season now after having Tuesday's game postponed, which will be made up on January 6th. And so that game has a new date now after not being played yesterday. Talking with Susie Rilling, the head coach of the Sully Buttes Chargers. And Coach, obviously you're prepared to play Ipswich. Now you're getting ready to prepare for play for North Central. How much, because it's early on in the year, how much preparation goes to the other team, and how much is just worried about what the Sully Buttes Chargers want to do?
Well, for the first 2 weeks of practice, we worked on us as a team. So now it's getting down into working with the teams that we're going to be up against. So we've been doing a lot of prep to get ready for those games as well. So. Yeah, it'll be a really good game for us.
What do you expect from North Central going in on Friday's game?
They're going to be tough. They have had these girls playing since they've been 8th graders as well on her team, and so stepping into that game come Friday, it's going to be a tough game for us. They have everybody coming back to where I have about 2 or 3, 2 for sure coming back. I still have 1 kind of on injured reserve, but it's going to be a tough. They're tall, they're quick. And they're go-getters.
And you mentioned tall. For this Sully Buttes team, Scotland Kinney stands at 6 feet. Everybody else is under 5'10". Size-wise, what do the Chargers want to do to make sure that size doesn't become an issue at all, and you can use maybe some shorter size to your advantage?
Yeah, we'll have to make sure that we box out and we get back on defense. And then we play our game and try to get a running gun situation going on where we can get up and down the floor quickly and score some baskets, and make sure that we have lots of ball fakes into this game because they like to jump and try to block our shots. So we just got to be prepared for that to come.
Again, talking with Coach Susie Rilling here of the Sully Buttes Chargers, who will play Friday at home against North Central in their first game of the season, as they did not play yesterday, and then they will be at home again next week against Lyman. Going into the start of the season, now that you have to wait an extra little bit day, I know you mentioned it earlier that you'd rather have played, got that the first game jitters out of the way. I mean, now the anticipation of Friday being here, wanting to be here, how much more are you ready for this game to get going than yesterday's game, just because you didn't get to play yesterday?
Yeah, the girls were really excited to play that first game when that got postponed. Then it was back to the drawing board and getting ready for our next game, which would be Friday, and that's all we can do. We just got to keep moving on and keep playing hard.
What was it a good practice yesterday? Sometimes you get a situation where you're expecting to play a game, and not that they don't like practice, but I mean, kids probably want to play more games than practice. But was it a good practice even after the game being postponed?
Yes and no. We had some good things and we had some bad things. We worked on some more things yesterday and hopefully got them out of the way, and we'll continue the rest of this week before Friday's game to get ready for North Central.
And again, that game Friday coming up over on Country 95.3 and on YouTube at Country 95.3 Sports. Wyatt Barichka will have the call for that game, and he'll have the call for Soybeats basketball as the year continues. Let's wrap up here, Coach. Biggest key for the Soybeats Charger team to get a win Friday against North Central?
We're going to have to make sure to box out, talk on defense, play really good defense.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time. As always, it's good talking to you again. Ready for that, even more ready for that season to get going now after not playing yesterday. But appreciate the time. Good luck on Friday and good luck this season.
Thank you.
That is head coach Susie Rilling of the Soybeats Chargers. Will return with more Coach's Corner after this year on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined, so y'all can sit here and ask me all the questions y'all want to. I'm going to answer with the same answer, so y'all can shoot if y'all please.
This is Coach's Corner on your home for the Pierre Governors, KCCR, and online at kccrradio.com.
And we welcome you back inside the KCCR studios as we wrap up our final edition of Coach's Corner for 2025. We will break for the next 3 weeks as we will have bowl coverage next week, Wednesday, and then we'll have Christmas and New Year's, and then we'll return in 2026. We've got next Wednesday, Old Dominion, South Florida for the Cure Bowl, followed by Louisiana and Delaware in the 68 Ventures Bowl. Yes, there are 4 teams that are pretty low end and, the group of 5, all that stuff. But it's fun to have those teams on the air on KCCR, and this is the great time to do it with our bowl season that we have starting on Saturday. We've got the LA Bowl. We've got the first 4 bowls on the radio. The LA Bowl on Saturday between Boise State and Washington. Troy at Jacksonville State on Tuesday, and the Salute to Veterans Bowl. And then we move into, before we get into Friday, with the Myrtle Beach Bowl, the Gasparilla Bowl, and then the first game of the college football playoff next week, Friday, on December 19th, which will be after Pierre basketball concludes on KCCR. And then we've got more of those college football playoff games. And moving in, we've got a lot of bowl games, like almost 40 bowl games to bring you here on KCCR, starting this Saturday and moving into next week, and gets really heavy in the week of Christmas and New Year's with a lot of college football here on KCCR. I want to thank our coaches and Coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capital Boys team, Coach Larry Aker of the Pierre Boys basketball team, Coach Kirk Bebout of the Pierre Girls basketball team, and Coach Susie Rilling of the Soybeats Girls basketball team. We've got More Coach's Corner coming up in 2026, but we hope you have a fantastic Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We are excited for bowl coverage here on KCCR starting this weekend and to bring you all of that fun stuff over the course of the Christmas season right here on KCCR. And keep enjoying the music, the Christmas music that we have here on KCCR. It's going to be tremendous. We have 30 Hours of Christmas next Wednesday. That will start Christmas Eve at 6 a.m., go all the way until noon on Christmas Day, the 30 Hours of Christmas. So a lot of fun stuff, a lot of great stuff that'll be here. That's 2 weeks from today, by the way, not next week, but 2 weeks on Christmas Eve. We're excited for it all, and we're excited to bring Coach's Corner back in 2026 on that first Wednesday of January. But again, enjoy the holidays, enjoy Christmas, enjoy New Year's, enjoy all the college football here on KCCR coming up, and we will see you in 2026 with Coach's Corner here on KCCR.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR, presented by the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection. Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com is also brought to you by Bank West, Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Todd's Electric, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Shane's Pharmacy, Missouri River Dentistry, CHS River Plains, Edward Jones Financial, Thording Electric, First Dakota National Bank, Gales Gas, and Lamb Motors. Join us each Wednesday at 5:30 on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com for more Coach's Corner. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South Dakota's sports leader.